What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live hangout vid. I'll go ahead and adjust my microphone. There we go. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Let's do a little bit of a sound test. Let's see if you can hear me. Perfect. All right, here we go. All right, y'all. What's happening? What's happening? It's me coming back at you again with another live hangout vid. Let's see what's going on in the live chat. Nobody's coming on yet. It's all good. It's kind of late, but it is what it is. So, for those of you who are watching right now, who just watched the Showtime card tonight, well, let me see. Let's get right to it. So Regis, Prograis destroys Julius Indongo in 2 rounds, and he beat him a lot better than Terence Crawford did. You know what? Looking at this fight, I just yeah, what's going on, Chills? That was crazy. What's going on? 1-2-2-4-5-2-9. I gotta say something about this because that first knockdown that Prograis scored on Dongo in the first round, it was like a right jab, but that jab did not seem to have connected to with much authority, and Dongo just went down. I found that a bit bizarre right there, to be honest with you. Okay. And then the second round, what's going on? Hey, Saddam, what's happening, brother? I'm good. I'm chilling, brother. So yeah, in the second round, Prograis scored with a straight, with a little bit of a looping left hand. Yeah, it didn't land, and it pushed the dongle like back to the ropes, and and that was kind of crazy how how that punch pushed how Dongo reacted to that punch. Okay, and then then Dongo make the count. He gets up, and then he goes down again a third time with a swooping left hand. He gets up after the third knockdown, and then the fourth knockdown. It didn't seem to me that Dongo goes down again, but it seemed to me that that punch didn't really connect. I don't know, call me crazy, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It just I don't know if he was the. I mean, look, when he was first signed on to Al Heyman along with the help of Lou DiBella, I was kind of I was like, okay, fine. He's trying to make some transitional moves. I mean, he felt that he was screwed out of his how did he how he was he had to make some moves because of his his sour relationship with his former promoter and manager Nestor Tobias. I get that. He moved over to the States. He relocated to Nebraska where Terence Crawford lives and trained in that same gym that he trains, and he signed on to Al Heyman with the help of Lou DiBella. Now, when I first found out that this fight was initially signed after Victor Postal pulled out his fight against Prograis, I said, okay, wait a minute here. Something's going on here. Something's going on here. They put Ndongo in there against a live body by the name of Prograis. That was not right to me because it seems to me that now they're trying to make him food to these other super lightweights. Okay. It's a shame though because he's a good guy. He's a good fighter. He had a good amateur pedigree. Two time world champion, unified champion. But all of a sudden now it's like watching him tonight, it seemed like he didn't even try. I'm not insinuating that he took a dive, but some of those punches when he went, when he was knocked down, especially that right jab when he went down the first time, it didn't seem like he connected with no authority. And then the last knockdown that he suffered, it didn't seem like it connected with no authority. It just seems like he either took a dive. It seemed to me that he would, he didn't even try, or he was a bit intimidated by Prograis. I don't know. But the bottom line to me is that he was just there to get a payday, and he was live food for Prograis. And it's sad because now, the body shops did do the job because that's what Crawford did expose that point. But at the same time, he went down, on a couple shots that didn't even land with no authority. That's what my problem is. I don't know, man. But the point is, I think it's sad to me because I think that what's going to happen now is that Terence Crawford's win over Dongo is going to look very inferior at this point. It's not going to look too good on It's not going to look quite as impressive on Terence Crawford's resume. So, but as far as Prograis is concerned, a guy who's a prospect coming up, that looks better on his resume than Terence Crawford's win against Indongo. That's the way it is. And I like Terence Crawford, but that's the truth. So now what Terence Crawford's going to have to do now is that he's at 147 now, where a lot of live bodies are at, and he's going to have to make up for that, which I think he will. So, with some, scoring some wins, I think the Jeff Horn win will do it. I mean, that's not a foregone conclusion, but I expect Crawford to win that fight. But it's going to be a tough fight. Don't get me wrong; that's going to be a very, very, very tough fight. Um, but um, but yeah, I think he's gonna make up for that at welterweight, and he's gonna get some bodies on his resume there. I think he beats all the welterweights. Believe it or not, he's gonna have a lot of tough time with all of them. I believe he will, but he will beat those guys. Yeah, it's sad though, Chills, man. It's a shame. He is food for those young super lightweights. It's sad, man. Good guy, great, very good fighter, good skills. He is a little bit, he can be a little bit he's very awkward, he can be a little wild. But I just didn't expect him to go out the way he did, man. It's sad. He's gonna be food for these younger guys, for the Heyman people coming up. It's sad. And I have to say the same thing about Sergey Lipinets, because his fight with Mikey Garcia is going down tomorrow, and I expect him to lose his title to Mikey Garcia. Okay, if Lipinets loses this fight, which we expect he will, he might be food for these young 140-pound fighters as well. Better yet, if Sergey Lipinets loses, then maybe there'll be a title eliminator between him and Dongo that may be set up with Heyman's camps. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, you know what? First of all, low play, stop. You need to stop trolling my comment section, bro. You kind of irrelevant right now. What's going on, Weed Degree? What's going on, man? Yeah. Yeah. Just going over the fight, man. I just think that yeah, it's sad to see a fighter, with great personality, have his pretty much his career at a very stale state at this point after his loss. So yeah. So where does Prograis go from here? I know this is a pretty much a WBC title elimination bout because the interim title was on the line, and Prograis now he's the winner. Okay, okay, all right, here we go. But now Prograis is the winner now. Now he will have to face. I think he'll be lined up to fight the winner of the Amir Rahman and Jose Ramirez fight. That should be a damn good fight, and I think that fight's going to go down. Is it going down tomorrow or next week? I think it's next week. I have to go back and check the schedule, but that's a damn good fight. Some people are gonna discredit. Going to give. I think some people are going to favor Ramirez to win that fight because Amir Rahman hasn't really been quite as impressive. I mean, he hasn't really been quite active. I mean, ever since he got beat up badly by Adrian Granados, and then he had a comeback fight against a guy who was 16-18, which was not. It was a non-televised fight. I mean, he hasn't been really been seen. So this could be a disadvantage for Amon going to this fight. And I like Amir Amon, but I would favor Jose Ramirez to win this fight because he's been more sharper. Not just that he's undefeated, but he's been more sharper. He's been more active, and I think he's more skillful than Amon. To be honest with you, I think he's a little bit more skillful than Amon. So I expect him to win this fight. Be tough, but I think he'll win it. And then the winner, then if whoever the winner of the Ramirez and the Amon fight should be fighting Prograis, because Prograis is now the mandatory challenger to the winner of the Ramirez and Amon fight, which is actually for the title. So yeah, we'll see that. Tony Ayu, what's going on, man? Tony Ayu says here, quote, people are going to now try to discredit Crawford's achievements now. I mean, yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. People are going to be online now. They're going to talk about, they're going to degrade that Crawford victory, which is going to happen. They're going to do that, and people are going to have a right to say what they want to say. But Terence Crawford does have, he's in a tougher division now. He made the choice to go up there. He could stay at 140, but he's at 147 now. He's going to be fighting live bodies up there, so he's going to be in a much tougher division. So, well, yeah, we'll see how this plays out, man. Tony Ayu says March 17th. Oh, okay. So the Amon and Ramirez fights on March 17th. Okay, cool. cool. That is next week. Okay, next Saturday. All right, cool. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Low Play says that man, Prograis just discredit that shit right in your face, not Pete. Man, what the fuck are you talking about, man? This is the thing. Sometimes I don't understand what the goddamn thing you say, man. All right, let's see here. Weed Degree says you see AJ Parker gloves off preview. Yeah, I seen that, and I saw the preview. And what I can tell you is that I think that Joseph Parker is a bit intimidated. I don't know if he's nervous or he's a bit intimidated, but Anthony Joshua seems very calm. He seems very relaxed, poised, and he seems extremely confident going into this fight. And Joseph Parker seems to be the one who's quite nervous. Is not, is quite, he shows a bit of self doubt, and that's nothing. And this is something that Joseph should not. I mean, I could be wrong, but just given the eye test of that preview that the gloves are off, he seems a bit nervous and not confident about going into this fight against AJ, which is about 3 weeks now, at the end of the month. Yeah, so about 3 weeks now. So I like Joseph, I really do, and I do rate him. I do rate him like highly, like while most most people don't rate him. But I hate to say it, man. I think AJ's gonna win this fight. He's gonna win it, and unless Joseph can figure out, he's gonna take AJ to deep waters, make him make him tire out or gas himself out like he's done in his previous fights, and then take him to the waters and test his chin. Joseph's going to really have to test that chin and see how well it holds up. So we'll see. Uh, so we'll see. Brown Gun says, Dan, the man Low Place loves to hate on everybody. What can you expect from someone lower than you? Fuck him and Sean Newman. Oh, you mean Sean Newton? Yeah, look. I don't know, man. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Sean Newton. Yeah, I don't know. The bitch in Taiwan. I don't know. Hey, I mean that's what they are. They like to troll people. They like to say stupid things, obnoxious things. That's what they are. So that is what they are. It is what it is. I can't. I'm not gonna spend too much on the hangout about them. I mean that's what they'll do what they want to do, man. Low Place says that did Crawford duck the new crop at 140? If he don't fight nobody at 147 for a while, I think he did. You don't have to worry about that because he cleaned out the division, all right? And then, after he vacated those titles, then those new guys start to come up. So, with that said, Crawford will be fighting the bodies at 147. You don't have to worry about that. All right, so good win for Regis. I mean, very good win on his, as a prospect, it's a pretty good win on his resume. So now he's got he's more promising. But again, it's kind of sad that Indongo was put in there to make him look good. I mean, it's sad. It is, So it is what it is. All right. Brown Gun, who do you got? Sergey Lipinets or Mikey Garcia? Oh man, Mikey Garcia. Sergey Lipinets looked bad in his last fight against Kondo, and I thought he lost that fight. It was a close fight, but the scorecards was atrocious. I mean, if you got Lipinets winning that fight, I have no problem with that. But the way they scored it, I can't remember the scorecards, but they were extremely wide to the point that was fucking outrageous. Excuse my language. No way in hell that Lipinets won that fight by that margin against Kondo. And I think Kondo deserves a rematch, but obviously he's not going to get it anytime soon. And Lipinets did not look that good in that fight too, because he gassed out. He was back, pretty much he was backpedaling throughout the most part of the fight because he didn't expect that much pressure from a guy, that was unheard of, a Kondo. So, and his power didn't really exhibit it against Kondo because Kondo does have a very good chin. And I mean, this is a guy who's going into a fight with 6 losses, but I don't think he was never stopped. And so what does that tell you? And, he's going up against Mikey. Mikey's a much better fighter, much more technically sound. So much more craftier. And yeah, I expect him to, I'm not saying he's going to blow away Lipinets, but I expect him to win that fight. I say it would probably go to the cards, but if he stops Lipinets, then hey, it is what it is. So, Chill Zone says Parker claiming to have a better chin though. Can he stand up to AJ's power? I don't know. But I will say this though. Joseph does have a chin, but I remember in the Carlos Takam fight, He was getting rocked in that fight by Carlos Takam, and Takam is not known to be a heavy hitter. So if AJ can hit Parker the way Takam did in their fight in New Zealand a couple years back, then or maybe 3 years back or so, but a couple years back, then I don't know. We have to wait and see because Parker needs to be tested. We'll see how his chin holds up. Let's see. Oh man, you ain't making no sense, Lo. You're not making no sense, man. All right, let's see. Gaines PP says, if he can get that WBO belt, he should leave Top Rank. Are you talking about Terence? Yeah, I heard his contract is set to expire with Top Rank. I haven't really found any stories about that. I mean, if anybody has information about that, please let me know. If that's true or not. So, I mean, if he does win that belt, which he's expected to do, then yeah, if his contract's expired, then go over to Al Heyman because that's where all the heavyweight champions. I mean, not heavyweights. That's where all the other welterweight champions are at. Yeah, you got Spence over there. You got Thurman, who's the unified champion. So definitely, there should be easier fights to make. So we'll see. Brown Gone said, "Did you hear about Woodley training Floyd?" Yeah, I heard something about that. Tyrone Woodley. I heard something about that. So it may be true to the rumor that Floyd is going to transition to MMA. I don't know about that one, man. That will be very, very interesting. And I'll tell you one thing: if Floyd Mayweather transitions over to MMA, and if he's able to draw the way he was able to draw in boxing, I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, that's something that would be unheard of. A guy who was boxing's biggest star at the time, like it or not, even though I didn't like the guy, he was boxing's biggest star at his time. Cross over to MMA and start drawing tickets and putting asses in seats. What does that tell you about his name brand and his star power? So yeah, man, it looks like there's truth to the rumor that he's going to transition over to the UFC, and that will further race speculation about him rematching with Conor McGregor. And I will say this though, if that rematch does happen, I will have to go to Conor because Conor is much more skilled in the octagon than Floyd Mayweather is. So I mean, yeah, but surprises, anything can happen. So we'll see. Yeah, 1 2 2 4 5 2 9. Crawford will do amazing things at welterweight. Yeah, I think so too. I agree. Dwayne Jones, what's going on, brother? I'm just going here and doing this little hangout. Probably won't be on this long. Let's see. Akuma's Deception. Is this the same guy that Crawford beat? Yep. Julius Indongo. It's the same guy. He lost tonight. Got destroyed in 2 rounds by Regis Prograis. So, yeah. Chill says Crawford could beat anyone at welterweight except for Thurman. I don't know about that. That would definitely, that'd definitely be a tough fight. But you know what? That would be a 50-50 fight. I did say that Crawford would beat anybody at welterweight. The thing about it, Thurman would probably be a little bit more tougher because I know styles make fights. I mean, Thurman's a guy who can fight off the back foot himself, and he can give you, various angles. And, he's very fundamental, and he could be slightly awkward. He's not as awkward as you could say Crawford, but he is slightly awkward. And we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Lowe says that Taka versus Luis Ortiz is a 55-45 fight today. I'll tell you one thing: if Carlos Taka versus Luis Ortiz ever get made, I'm definitely going with Ortiz, and that'd definitely be a good fight. Regardless of what the ranking says, and Ortiz will still is still a top 10 heavyweight, even though after his loss to Deontay Wilder. So still be a good fight if that fight gets made. Rob Gotti says, "I told y'all Prograis is a beast." Yeah, we all knew that, bruh. We all knew that. Dan, this mess with Pac and Aram is crazy. You know what? I heard there's some friction there between Pacquiao and Aram. I don't know the story behind it. But I do know something that Pacquiao is scheduling. There's rumors that he will be setting up a fight against and who's he? Let me look it up. I know it's not Mike Alvarado because that got called off because Pacquiao turned it down because he was asked to be on the undercard of Crawford versus Horn, and he took that as an insult. He said, "No, I will not do that." So he felt that's insulting. Because he's a guy who's a name in boxing, whether he's old and he's past his best. He's headlined for the last decade or so. So why should I downgrade and become fight on the undercard against someone who hasn't really, who's barely starting to headline to headline his fights. I mean, not barely, but Crawford's headlined for the last 4 years now. But I can understand Manny's his pride, but it is what it is. But the rumor mill is that he's supposed to be fighting Lucas Matisse. So, but that fight hasn't been finalized yet, so we don't know what's going on there. Brown Gunn says that he's going to fight CM Punk. Oh, yeah, that's the rumor. I heard something about that too. Floyd Mayweather versus CM Punk. I don't, you know what? CM Punk is a much bigger dude, and I expect him to kind of manhandle Floyd. And he is a little bit more trained on the ground than Floyd, but we'll see if that comes out to be fruition. I don't know. I mean, CM Punk's not really a fighter, but he is kind of tough. He's not a guy you can push around. I know his first UFC outing was dreadful, was bad, but he's one of those guys who's not going to run from you. He's not going to back down. It is what it is by him. Yeah, Crawford's going to be running from Jeff Horn. That's what you think. Make y'all think that he's going to run over, fight over Spence. Let's get real. His best days past him versus the bums he fought. Well, first of all, Spence struggled against Kell Brook. All right? He struggled in the first half of that fight. He didn't run through Kell Brook like he's ran against smaller guys like Peterson and who else? Phil DeGreco and Bundu and Algieri. Okay, fine. Those guys were food for Spence. But I will say this, though. Peterson hit Spence with some monstrous shots, even though they didn't affect him. But Terence Crawford, in my opinion, hits harder than Lamont Peterson. Okay, he's much more funnily sound, and he's a much better fighter than Lamont Peterson. Okay, now Spence, on the other hand, needs to be very careful because he gets hit a lot. He's getting tagged in his last few fights. Okay, if he doesn't, he's a little reckless. Okay, he needs to start learning to be more defensive minded. I mean, I know he's an offensive come forward guy, but he's got to learn to be, he's got to pay a little bit more attention to his defensive arsenal and need to work on that. Okay, because that's not going to work against Crawford. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, all right. Yardy boxing talk. You didn't like Mayweather, Dan? That's treason. Trust me, bro. I got that treasonous talk before. But hey, it's my opinion. I don't like Floyd, but hey, I respect his career. He was, he is a great fight. He is an all-time great. I have to admit that. He's got some great wins on his resume, so I have to acknowledge that. I'm being impartial, Gaines says here, the only reason Floyd was a big star because the heavyweight division in America was dead. That is true. That is true. Ever since the heavyweight division had died out, ever since Tyson and Lewis and Holyfield had retired and they left, Klitschko's were running things, and that division at the time when the Klitschko's were running things, it just stunk, man. It was just dead. I mean, there was quite a few names in there, but there was no appeal there, man. The Klitschko's just stunk up the whole division when they were reigning. Yeah, they were good fighters, they were great fighters, but still, it doesn't dismiss the fact that division, when they took over, it was just so weak. It was so terrible. And yes, that's what it paved the way for the little guys to come in, especially at the welterweights. You have Floyd, you have the guys like Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez, guys who were rated pound for pound best for a while. Then you have Diego Corrales, and you have Antonio Margarito, Shane Mosley, Vernon Forrest, at one point. Then you have Mayorga that came in a little bit, but actually, no, Mayorga left a long while back. Of course, time when De La Hoya was still fighting. Then you had Winky Wright, Jermaine Taylor, Bernard Hopkins coming up. Then the light heavyweights, Antonio Tarver, Roy Jones, Glenn Johnson, Joe Kawasaki. So yeah, I can go on and on, but that's what happened. Yeah, you may have a point there, and Floyd took the opportunity where the heavyweight division wasn't so deep of talent, a lot of names, and it was dead for years. So the little guys, it was an opportunity for the little guys to come in and take over and be the flagship for boxing. And Floyd did it. So it is what it is. Champ Ross asked, whose best days are behind him, LP low place? I don't know who he's talking about. I think he's talking about Crawford, which makes no damn sense. I mean, this is the same guy that says that Donna Stevenson would beat Deontay Wilder if he moves up to heavyweight. All right, so let's go here. Floyd is about to heist another. Yeah, it's cash grab. It is what it is. He can do what the hell he wants to do. I mean, his boxing days are done, so let him do what he wants. Let's see what we got here. Dan Thurman gets hit way too much. He does. I mean, Keith does tend to keep his hands down a lot. Just like, I mean, Spence comes in with the high guard, but the thing about Spence is that when he throws his power shots, particularly to the body, he keeps himself extremely wide open, and that's why he gets hit a lot. Now, as far as Thurman's concerned, he moves around, but he doesn't keep a high guard, so he don't keep his hands up. So, yeah, they both do get hit. I do agree. Tony Ye, who says that Golden Boy has a card on right now. I mean, who cares about Golden Boy's card, man? That promotional company is under depletion right now, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Uh, what else we got here? Nyota says that card ended earlier, Tony. Yeah, you're probably watching a replay. Yeah, that's true. You know what? Let me see what we got here. Dark Horse, what's going on, Dark Heart? Oh, Dark Horse, Dark Heart. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that, y'all. So let me see. Aaron was trying to use Pacquiao. I mean, well, he has been using Pacquiao for many years. I mean, look, he's a cash cow fighter. You're gonna try to do what you can to milk him. That is, for as long as you can. I mean, as a promoter, you gotta do what you gotta do to make money off your top, one of your top fighters. I mean, Pacquiao was his top fighter for many years, and he's trying to milk him and cash him out the best way he can. So, of course, there's gonna be friction there. Let's see. Let Broner get in here with Prograis. Oh man, dude, 93 Sports, man. What's going on, man? Oh man, Broner's gonna get smoked by Prograis. I'm sorry, he's gonna be food for Prograis. Speaking of Broner, he is fighting Jesse Vargas at a catchweight, but that's not an easy fight. So I don't know what the hell is I mean, hey, I think he's gonna be food too. I'll be honest with you. I think AJ Broner's gonna be food, but I guess Jesse Vargas. I don't know because that's a top ranked fight. What do you know? Bob Arum top ranked and Al Heyman fighter fighting again. Now, who said that Bob Arum is refused to work for Al Heyman? Refuses to work with Al Heyman, I should say. Now, who said that? I'm just kidding. All right, let's see. Let's see. Damn, breakdown Spence versus Brook at 154. Yeah, you know what? I heard something about this. Brook versus Spence at 154. I know Errol Spence had said something. Not Errol Spence. Kell Brook had called out Errol Spence and said, "Hey, look, man, I'll destroy him at 154." And Errol Spence fired back at him, said, "Okay, if you want to fight me again, I can do it at 154, but the next time I'm gonna break both your eyes." You know what? I can tell you one thing. By that comment right there, that would shake Kell Brook's confidence right there from a psychological standpoint because after his comeback win, he feels more enthusiastic. He feels that he can still be a big player in the sport of boxing. But after hearing that comment, I'm like, oh, that definitely is a confidence shaker right there. And Errol Spence is a guy who could play with you and play mental mind games with you. Or that is the same word, mental and mind. He could play mind games with you. So it is what it is. Let me see. Crawford would get knocked the fuck out by that Saints at Kell Brook. Oh, man, get the fuck out of here, okay? All right, don't, man, this shit. Okay, again, this is the same dude that said Adonis Stevenson will beat fucking Deontay Wilder if he moved up to heavyweight, and you also said Adonis Stevenson would beat Michael Spinks. Hey, get the fuck out of here, man. All right, all right, nothing more to be said there. Brook moving up makes no sense, makes no difference. Spence will break him at 154. I have to agree. I agree, man. It just makes no sense for him to even call out Errol Spence. I mean, it just makes no sense. And let me tell you something. Errol Spence spars 154 pounders on a daily basis. And I think I heard he spars middleweights too. So that's how tough that dude is, man. He spars middleweights and light middleweights. So if he chooses to, let's say if he chooses to go up to 147 to middleweight, I don't think that'd be much of a problem for him because he's actually a pretty big dude, out of the ring. Because I heard he weighs around 185, out of the ring. So and he rehydrates over like close to 170 going into fights. So he's a very huge welterweight. Let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna bring a couple guys in here. I'm not gonna be on that long. Let's see. Greg Abnathy, what's going on, man? I haven't heard from you in a long time, Greg. Do you guys think that Prograis could beat Mikey Garcia? Not at this stage, no. No. I think Prograis is still a work in progress. I think he's still got work to do. The one thing I know about Prograis is that he keeps himself wide open. So he's got to learn to tighten up that guard a little bit, and he's got to sharpen up his skills a little bit as well. So I think he's not quite ready for that type of fight. Not right now. Uh, let's see. A lot of comments coming in here. Let's see. Brown Gun said, "What's up with Orton and Crawford fight? Why hasn't there been no announcement yet?" You know what? I don't know. I think the dispute in that situation is a purse because I think the two camps they're keen on fighting each other. That's a good sign, but I think the problem is that they're trying to. Actually, you know what? We do have a date. The date's been confirmed in Las Vegas, April 14th, according to the Australian outlet news.com.au. Let me go ahead and read that for you. So we do have a date on that fight. It's going to be in Vegas. P Money, what's going on, man? Indongo isn't a top fighter, period. I mean, at the time when he was unified champion, he was, but right now he's not. So, fortunately, he's gonna be food. He's gonna be in journeyman status right now, man. It's sad. It's sad that he was put in there against a hot prospect like that when he signed with Heyman. And to me, it seemed like he didn't really fight with no heart going into that fight tonight, man. It just seems like he just either didn't care, he was a little intimidated. It was just a mixture of everything. It just seemed kind of odd watching him in that ring tonight, man. I'm not saying he's just taking a dive, but it just seems like there's some signs of him not even trying. So it was kind of fishy to me, to be honest with you. Let's not get twisted. He did get hurt against Prograis with those lefts, but in the shots to the body. But still, it just seemed like he didn't really try. So according to this article by Vince Rugari from the Australian News.com, news.com.au. Jeff Horn will be flying over here to Vegas, and he'll be fighting Terence Crawford on April 14th. So we do have a date. That's confirmed. Let me see. Dark 1225459. I think Prograis will be Amir Rahman. You know what? At this stage, I think he would. I agree with you on that. I think he would. I agree with you on that one. Does this fight diminish his Crawford win over Dongo and becoming undisputed? Well, from one part, it does not diminish Terence Crawford becoming an undisputed champion, but what people are going to try to do now is that they are going to try to diminish his win over Indongo based off this performance. Okay, that's what they're going to try to do. And they're going to also say that Crawford fought in a very weak division when he was reigning. Yeah, look, no one said that division was a stellar division. We all know that. But yeah, Terrence recognizes that he went up to weight where there's a lot of live bodies there, and he's going to take them on. So you got to give him credit for that because he's trying to be the best. Okay, so it is what it is. It kind of reminds me because Oscar De La Hoya went through the same situation too when he was moving up in weight. When he started at super featherweight, wasn't much competition down there. He moved up to lightweight. It wasn't much competition up there. I mean, the only guy he fought there was his biggest test at that time was Rafael Ruiz, and he destroyed Ruiz in 2 rounds, something that nobody thought would ever happen. And then after he beat Ruiz, he kind of soon after that he moved up to like welterweight. Wasn't much competition there, but the only guy there that could have gave him a good fight was Costa Zoo, but he didn't fight him, so he moved up to welterweight where all the money was at and where all the big names was at. So I kind of see this situation, this parallel to what Crawford is doing. He fought in divisions where there weren't really big names. He got some decent wins in those divisions like De La Hoya did. But, I mean, I'm not comparing Crawford to De La Hoya's, his career is moving up between weights up to welterweight. I will acknowledge that De La Hoya's wins over Gennaro Hernandez took his undefeated record away. Gennaro Hernandez and who else? And Rafa Ruiz, those wins are much better. And Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., I forgot to mention him. He fought him at light welterweight as well. So those wins over there are much, much, much better than Crawford's wins moving up between weights. But at the same time, there is a parallel of those two guys moving up between weights while there ain't much good competition moving up between those weights, but they moved up to a weight class like the welterweights where there's more money there and there's a lot of bigger names. Okay, so there's a bit of a parallel there between the two. Golden Boy fight card. I mean, nobody cares about that, Champ Ross. P Money says that to Nyota, I think Prograis would beat Mikey. Mikey doesn't like it in the body. Lipinets will show what I mean tomorrow. Well, let's wait and see on that. But I just don't think at this point Prograis is ready for Mikey Garcia. I just don't think he's ready. But hey, we never know. Like I remember years ago when people said that Floyd wasn't ready against ready for Gennaro Hernandez when he was fighting a lot of guys who weren't really, live bodies before he fought Hernandez, and he destroyed Gennaro Hernandez. And remind you, Hernandez was a guy, long reigning champion who it was a lineal champion, a guy who's at top of his division for years, who came into that fight with one loss on his record. So anything could happen. But in my opinion, I just don't think Prograis is ready for that fight. I don't think he beat Mikey at this point. Then, man, what's funny to me is that low key gay. Talking about low place, called Crawford weight bully. Then he says he won't do that shit at a higher weight class. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. That money milk is drying up. Nyota to say, yeah, it's possible. Let's see how he looks tomorrow. Lipinets is impressive to me. Barely got by Kondo last time. Yeah, we were talking about that. I'm gonna bring you guys on in a second. I was just talking about that a second ago. I think Prograis. To be honest with you, not Prograis. Think that Kondo won that fight, and Lipinets definitely did not look good to me. He looked pretty bad. I'm not saying he didn't look too bad, but he didn't look impressive, and I thought he lost that fight. Close fight, but the scorecards were atrocious, and you and I both know that. We talked about that last time. Fred Thomas says here, P Money, I've been saying the same thing: body, 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 and more body. Yep, body tax always works. Champ Ross says that Vargas is not with Top Rank no more. Oh, really? Oh, I did not know that. Really? I thought he's still with Top Rank. Hold up. Lowe says that Vargas not with Top Rank anymore. He went back. Back to who? So, hmm. So Vargas left Top Rank. When did that happen? I did not even know that. Oh, okay, so that's how that fight got made. Okay. All right, never mind. Thanks for correcting me on that, guys. All right, Pediango. Pedano. Hey, forgive me for butchering your name, man. Indongo was never that good. Crawford won the lottery for him, 2 free belts. I knew tonight's fight was not going to go 4 rounds. Well, you know what? From the looks of it, you could be right, man. And I spoke highly of Indongo. I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, he seemed very promising. The way he shocked the world in 6 months to win 2 world titles coming out of nowhere, but it just seemed this fight he just didn't even try. He was not the fighter that I seen when he fought Trianovsky and Burns. So there was no passion there. He didn't seem like he was confident. It just like we all knew he was. We all kind of speculated he was food, but he just seemed like he didn't try. It just seemed to me that he would just sit there just to get a payday, kind of like Eric Molina, how he fought what's his name, Anthony Joshua. He was just there for food, man. Just sit there just to get a payday, not even try hard. You know went down on his first knockdown. He went down on a jab that didn't even land with no authority. So I just like, like, what the fuck? That jab didn't really connect. So, what does that tell you? I'm just disappointed, man. It's the performance, man. Really disappointed. Olaf the Mighty, what's going on, man? Thanks for spoiling the verdict for those who's watching on the West Coast. Yeah, Tony Ayo, PBC dude now, Jesse Vargas. Vargas is with us now, PBC. Yeah, I know. The PBC Al Heyman crew. Let's see. P Money says, I think that he beats Lipinets, but the fight will show Mikey as best at 135. Let me see. Nyota says, hey, look, if you're signed with Top Rank, you're bestly signed into a ducking ass promoter. The fact that Verdugo is still undefeated is proof of that. Felix Verdejo. I'm sorry, not Verdugo. For Felix Verdejo. I mean, what's up with Felix Verdejo? We haven't heard from him in a while. Is he what's going on with him? I mean, I know he had that freak accident years ago. I know I haven't really heard from him, and I haven't really heard too much about his fights. Fred Thomas says that Dongo might need to move up or something. He gets touched up. Excuse me. Dongo might need to move up or something because he gets touched and he hurt, maybe the weight or something. I don't know. Nah, he can't move to welterweight. That'd be a terrible idea. From what I just seen right there, nah, that would be a a deadly that would be a perilous mistake right there for Indongo if he moves up to welterweight. Nah, he doesn't have a future up there, man. He better. I mean, the only thing I see him doing at this point, now he's with Al Heyman. I'm not sure what what the extent of that contract is, but he's gonna be a lot. He's gonna be food for some of these these light the super lightweights coming up. But I do see this though. I think what they're gonna do is that they're gonna give him a soft touch, and then whoever's a champion of one of those Heyman guys that super lightweight is a champion. What they're gonna do is that they're gonna whoever becomes a champion. Let's say Prograis, for example, right? Let's say if he does beat Amon, the winner of Amon and Ramirez, right? And then his first title defense, I could see him rematch against Indongo, which I don't know why anybody want to see that. But if Indongo somehow looks good in his two warm-up fights, then okay, he looks good. He's got his confidence back. He seems like the guy that we've seen knock out Triamnovsky and beat Burns. So I can see how that plays out from a strategic standpoint. But yeah, I mean, if anything, he's food at this point. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up with the comments, man. I'm trying to catch up. I don't think Crawford Horn is ESPN pay per view. I don't know, but I heard ESPN is. I mean, Top Rankings are going to do an ESPN pay per view. I heard something about that, but we don't know. We don't have too much information on that. But if this is a pay per view fight, it's ESPN's first pay per view fight that I ever could think about. So, yeah, Top Rank does minimum promotions. I know. 1-2-2-4-5-2-5-4-2-9. Oh, 4-5-2-9. I know. I don't know. Bob Arum needs to get out of the game, man. He's 86 years old. He needs to give up his control of the company. He needs to give it up to I think his children. I think I think he's got some sons. I don't know about his family's life, but I'm sure he's got an extended family where they can take over the business, and I'm sure they can run it much better than he can. And they'll start working with other promotions to make big fights. Don't do that, man. Give Wilder his props. He won. Talking about Deontay Wilder. We Degree says that Ortiz nearly did beat Wilder to be TBF. Well, he did. He nearly won, but Ortiz didn't capitalize. He gassed out when he threw the kitchen sink at Wilder, and he probably underestimated his chin, and that's what kind of shook him from a psychological standpoint. Not saying that he didn't continue to fight, but he just gave it his all, and he realized that he gassed out, and he just almost had only a little bit left in his tank, but it wasn't enough to beat Wilder. So, yeah. Low place. Here you go again. I picked Wilder. It still wasn't impressive because he got stopped. Look, bro, you got to stop that conspiracy talk, okay? We already talked about this, bro. Wilder won. Get over it, all right? And you made that stupid video about him being a dirty fighter, all right? You nitpicking, right? Just discredit the man. Then you say you give him credit, and then you made a video discrediting him about landing some forearm shots, which is not a blatant or intentional forearm shots or back of the head punches, okay? So anybody can nitpick a video to make a fighter look bad and discredit him. That's exactly what you tried to do. Okay? And we'll talk about Wilder in a second. I'm going to get you guys in here. Since 93 Sports says that, look, Ortiz already blew his load in the already blown his load in the 7th round. I agree, though he wasn't going to jump on Wilder in the 8th. Exactly. Yeah, I think I know why he did that, because he knew Wilder, was still standing. He's still very dangerous. If you think about Deontay Wilder, when he gets hurt, he's far more dangerous when he gets hurt. And that's what makes him a special fighter. No, he's not the most skillful fighter. I know that. And this is another thing I talk about this too, because people get on about Deontay Wilder's technique. Okay, look, just because you don't have technique does not necessarily mean you're not a good fighter. I could go back to the fighters of the past, and don't say that I'm comparing Deontay Wilder to the fighters of the past, okay? I'm not doing that. You have to look at this from an overall scope, all right? Let's go to Ricardo Mayorga, for example. Shout out to Hatman Strikes Back, because he brought this up. Now, Deontay Wilder is a much better fighter than Ricardo Mayorga, okay? But we all recall what Ricardo Mayorga did to two skillful fighters. One, Andrew Sixhead Lewis, God rest his soul, and the other one, Vernon Forrest, God rest his soul, too. Vernon Forrest was a pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, okay, when he beat Shane Mosley twice, okay? And what did Ricardo Mayorga do to him? Mayorga destroyed Vernon Forrest in 3 rounds, ran through him, okay? Mayorga had no technique, very sloppy fighter, but he beat Vernon Forrest and knocked him out, okay? Same thing with Andrew Sixhead Lewis. Before the Vernon Forrest fight, Marga ran through six-head Lewis too. And Lewis was a very, very good fighter, skillful boxer, very good defensively, very awkward, could give you angles. He was a very good fighter. But Mayorga ran through that guy. Okay, but the point I'm saying is that it's not always about technique, guys. It's about what helps you, what gets you through fights. And Deontay Wilder, yes, he's fought guys. He's fought guys that does have better skills than him, like Arthur Spilka and who else? Luis Ortiz, obviously. Gerald Washington is a much better, skillful fighter than him. And look what he did to those guys. He knocked those guys out. He so it's not always about skill. I mean, you know, it's not always about skill. It's about whatever abilities you have. And despite your limitations, if it gets you through fights, then that's all good. That's all good. Because there's been many great fighters who never had skill, but they all turned out to be all-time greats because of what they were good at. And whatever abilities they have, they used it to their advantages, and it helped them win fights. That's all I got to say. Low place of P Money, P Money going at it. He gets props if that medical shit was dodgy. Come on. All right, we degree. Let me explain that to you. Okay, first of all, you probably didn't hear about the Mike Perez and the Mega Mendoff situation that occurred a few years ago in New York. Okay, Mega Mendoff is now, you know, in a vegetative state. Okay, at first he was in a induced coma due to due to the damage he took from Mike Perez, the damage. And he can't even speak. You know, he can't even speak. He can't even feed himself now, and he's in a vegetative state. And because of the damage that he took from the fight against Mike Perez, and by the way, Mike Perez is, you know, still affected psychologically. He's psychologically scarred from that fight. Mega Mendoff's family sued the state of New York and then in the New York State Athletic Commission for $23 million, for lots and lots of money, and they settled for $23 million. And ever since that incident happened that night, and going through this whole litigation process, the New York State Athletic Commission assessed a new rule, and they said, look, if a fighter was severely hurt after a round, they have to be checked on during the timeout and after the timeout. So when the bell rang for the eighth round, the referee was required to do that, because if the fighter looked like he took some, you know, severe damage in one round and he survived that round, he needs to be checked on at least twice to make sure he's okay to go on. They did this in the Peterson fight. They did it a couple times with Lamont Peterson. Okay, people tend to forget that, and they also did it in other fights too recently in New York. So it wasn't dodgy, man. I don't know why people keep running on this. So that's the rule. Ortiz had already blown it. We already talked about that. P Money says, you talking crazy, man. How was he stopped in the seventh round? I mean, he was stunned, but he was coherent and defensive. That's why the fight wasn't stopped. I agree. Bob Aaron tried to pull, yeah, it's a concussive protocol that the New York State Athletic Commission put in place. It actually happens a lot in fights. Yeah, I explained that, P Money. I explained that. I'm catching up with your guys' comments. Forgive me here. Forgive me here. I just hate the excuses. Good win for Prograis. Mike in the pound for pound boxing report. Good win for Prograis tonight. I like the way he called the top guys at 140. Yeah, it's a very good win, man. Very good win. Akuma's deception. He said Dongo got the worst chin in the con. He got hurt by a jab. Well, Akuma, here's the thing. That jab didn't really land with the authority. I don't think it really landed that much, and he just went down. So it kind of looked like that was a dive move right there. To be honest with you. Kuma's deception is that's fine, Dan. I just can't respect a guy without skills. Yeah, I get what you're saying on that, but at the same time, you have to understand where I'm coming from, because I've watched this sport for many years and I studied it for a long time, and I've seen many fighters who didn't have skill, but they become all time great fighters, like George Foreman. George Foreman was never a very skilled fighter. He admitted that, but the only thing that made George Foreman was so great was the fact that he utilized what he was very good at to the best of his ability, and that was his left jab. He had a very potent left jab, and he used that to his ability. And he had a stinging right too. Yeah, he was never quite as he never had a great technical skill, but whatever he possessed, which is that left jab, he became an all-time great fighter and a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, despite a lack of technical skills. So it is what it is. It's funny though because Foreman was well known to be a windmill guy too, but his windmills will knock guys out like Ken Norton and Joe Frazier. So it is what it is. But to be all fair though, Foreman was a little bit more coordinated with his windmills than Wilder. Wilder be all going crazy with his windmills. But hell though, but I mean Wilder's windmills. I know they call him the Alabama windmill, but his windmills are like they come in with ferocity and speed. And it's hard to time them, and that's what makes them so crazy and awkward. You know. Let's see. Weed deception. Weed degree. You got it. I was saying the issue was a severe. It was that severe. The referee had to stop the fight. Should have stopped the fight. Well, here's the thing. Weed degree. I explained this on a chat too. This is not the first time that a champion gets the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I can go back to Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield, when he fought Riddick Bowe, he was severely beaten up in the 10th round by Riddick Bowe. Okay, and George Foreman, I remember at that time he was commentating for HBL. He sat on ringside and he was like, "Why the referee ain't stopping the fight? This is in the 10th round. Evander Holyfield was taking so much punishment." But the referee at that night was Joe Cortez. George Cortez used his discretion. He used his judgment and said, "You know what? I'm not going to stop the fight because Evander is actually blocking all of Riddick Bowe's shots." But he came back. He rallied in that 10th round. He hurt Bowe in that 10th round when he took that punishment. And he showed how well how well his recovery is. Okay, and so he's not the first champion who's got the benefit of the doubt. In fact, Luis Ortiz got the benefit of the doubt when he got knocked down by Wilder in the second. Got knocked down the second knockdown in the 10th. He was out on his feet when he got up after that second knockdown when he took that crunching left front hook from Wilder. And the referee gave Luis Ortiz the benefit of the doubt and let him go on to see if he could, come back, but he didn't. So, yeah, he was out on his feet, and when he got up, so he got the benefit of the doubt. So, look, my point is that too many fights get stopped at a time. I think they should not be stopped. You got to give fighters a chance to fight back. I understand you got to preserve their safety and all, but sometimes you got to give them a chance to fight back. And I'm glad the referee didn't stop the fight. Gave Wilder a chance to come back. Yeah, Wilder won. P. Dono says that Wilder won fair and square, but he seems uncoordinated. But I believe that helps him. Also, that right head keeps his opponents honest, which is true. Fair enough. Totally agree. Kind of like Foreman. Foreman was a bit uncoordinated too at this time, but his left jab kept a lot of his opponents at honest. He kept them on notice with his left jab. I'll tell you that. And again, guys, I'm not comparing Deontay Wilder to George Foreman. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you from an overall scope of the parallels of fighters who are limited in their skills, but they use their best to their ability to win fights. So that is what it is. Whatever skills they have. Let's see. Goble the boy needs a better play-by-play announcer. I hear you. I hear you. Let's see what we got here. Giovanni Sargaza. Did you see Alexis Roca? He's a good welterweight prospect. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Definitely needs some work on him though. I mean, he's a prospect. Give him time. He'll definitely develop later in his career. Don't get it wrong. I don't like Deontay Wilder. I'm just giving my opinion on the fight. I've seen fights stopped earlier than that. Yeah, I get you, but it depends where it's being sanctioned at, particularly in New York. Okay, but again, champions get the benefit of the doubt more so than than the let's say the a prospect or somebody who's just a contender. Hell, I mean, like I said, it depends where where the fights are being sanctioned, and sometimes again, if you're a name or if you're a champion, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt. I get you on that. Mike says that the fact that Wilder can hurt guys without his feet being completely set at odd angles and from sometimes while moving backwards, that's a fighter with born natural power. You know what that reminds me, Mike? That reminds me of Ricardo Mayorga, and I brought him up just a second ago, moments ago. Yeah, Ricardo Mayorga used to be just like that, a very awkward fighter. And when he used to throw, if for some reason when he was at welterweight, he used to possess so much power throwing punches from different angles, and he had so much power in those punches when he threw them. And that's what kind of shook Vernon Forrest because Vernon Forrest couldn't figure it out in the first fight, and he certainly couldn't figure it out in the second fight. So Andrew Sixheads Lewis was very intimidated in that second fight too against Mayorga because Mayorga was very awkward and he just threw like I recall in that fight with Andrew Lewis back in 2002. Mayorga threw a left uppercut and it's such an odd angle on six heads, and he hurted him badly with that left uppercut. And I'd sit back and looking at myself, I was like, how the hell he throw that uppercut with so much ferocity? He didn't even set his feet throwing that uppercut. So yeah, and that was quite amazing how Mayorga did that to hit six head through him, through that left uppercut. But it is what it is. Did you see the Petrov fight? He got his ass kicked. Yeah, I see him he got stopped, but I didn't really see the entire fight. Let's see, 1-2-4-5-2-9 says that yeah, Bull Holyfield are 1 and 2 classics. Yeah, I mean all three fights were classics. All three fights. The Bull and Holyfield trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. So no question about it. NBT boxes in the house. Let's see. The NBT says that Crawford left 440 to duck Prograis. Facts. The new let me see, a new mode for trolls, a new model for trolls. Okay, yeah, I know, a new model for trolls. I know. That's what they're gonna say. I know Low Place is gonna be pulling that card. That's what he's gonna fucking do because he doesn't like Crawford. So Mike says that shoot, Arturo got the benefit of the benefit of doubt. Yeah, you know what? Good point, Mike. Arturo Gotti, when he fought Mickey Ward, there was times when Mickey Ward batted the crap out of Arturo Gotti. I think it was in one round he got hurt so badly that I'm like, why isn't the ref stopping the fight? But Arturo Gotti came back, he battled back, and he stung and he hurt got Ward in one of those rounds when Ward was batting the crap out of him. But like you said, champions or names get the benefit of the doubt, and Wilder got that. So that's just the way it is. Yeah, Paulie called it live, but Paulie didn't know the rules with the New York State Athletic Commission. So let's see. Yeah, better example, Dan Gotti and his fight with Wilson Rodriguez. Yeah, that's another one too. I forgot about that. I think one with Ivan Robinson too. So yeah, Gotti has gotten plenty of benefit of the doubts, plenty of them. So like I said, man, it depends where the fights are sanctioned, and sometimes champions do need to get the benefit, or fighters by that matter need to get the benefit of the doubt. You got to give the fighter a chance to fight back. Too many fights get stopped prematurely, man, and that's gotta stop. You know, and again, I'm glad that Wilder survived that onslaught. He got a chance to come back and he won. And I just don't understand why people are so upset with that. I guess people are so angry about that that non-stoppage because they want to see Wilder lose so badly. They're just looking for something to barrage fans like myself of Deontay Wilder, to barrages. That's what they're trying to do. So I mean, look, the man won. The better man won. You got to deal with it. Move on to the next one. All right. Now that I'll move on to the next one. My question is, what's Deontay Wilder's next move? So, Scott, before I get to that, I gotta say Scott Quick misses weight. I mean, look, he came in unprofessional. Okay, what's so bizarre about how he missed the weight? He not only missed it by 2 pounds. When the announcer announced that he came in at 127 pounds or 128 pounds, this dude flexed his muscle with a smile as if he was glad to miss the weight. And I'm sitting there looking at, I'm beside myself. I'm wondering what in the world? I'm so almost 3 pounds. What the fuck? And he was smiling, and he was like, it seems like he was so happy to miss the weight. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm not sure if Scott Quick cares about winning the fight or what's the deal, man. But the fact is, this is unprofessional. And from what I've heard, Carl Frampton barraged Scott Quigg with that. And I know Carl Frampton has no reason to talk because he himself missed weight in his last fight, so he has no reason to talk. Okay. All right. So I look. Oh man. It is what it is. It is what it is. But all I know is now, even if Scott Quigg wins the fight against Oscar Valdez, he cannot win the title. So, what you call Oscar Valdez have nothing to. He's pretty much in a win-win situation. So, what I mean by that is that even if he loses, he still keeps his title. Even if he wins, he keeps his title. So he's in a win-win situation. Scott Quigg is in a lose-lose situation, so he's fucked up his opportunity. I'm sure Eddie Hearn's kind of pissed at him, so it is what it is. Anthony Park says that Josh Taylor versus Prograis. Who you got? Oh, that's a damn good fight. Actually, I would love to see that fight. Two prospects going up against each other. Well, actually, no, Josh Taylor's not exactly a prospect anymore. He's actually a top 10 140-pound guy now. So, I mean, Prograis should be there too. So, but two guys who are still in the prospect stage is going at each other like that. That's a good fight. I actually would love to see that one. Love to see that fight. Weed Degree says that Quigg is dubbed, dropped from Matchroom. Did Matchroom drop him, or are you just saying that he should be dropped from Matchroom Sport? Is that what you're saying, Weed? NBT says I want to see Prograis versus Amon. Yeah, that's a good fight. If Amon could get past Ramirez, but I expect Ramirez to win that fight. But if Amon does get past Ramirez, he is the champion, and Prograis will become his mandatory. And that's a fight I would love to see. And I would have to favor Prograis to win that fight. However, though, I have to see how good Amon looks against Ramirez. So we'll see how that goes. Weed says he ain't, but he will be. Okay, so you think he'll be dropped by Matchroom after this fight? We'll see. We'll see on that. Now, my next question is to you guys before I wrap this up. What's Deontay Wilder's next move? What should he do next now that he's got Luis Ortiz off the way? Let me know in the comment section, guys. What do you think he should do next? You know, in fact, let me get some guys on here because I'm going to start some trouble here. Oh, man. Let me see if I get some guys here. I know I got a few minutes. You know what? Dominic Brazil. You know what, NBT? It's funny you brought up Dominic Brazil. Dominic Brazil came out and said that Deontay Wilder, he wants to fight him now, and he actually wants to really fight him. Because there's been an incident there's beef between Brazil and Wilder. After that incident at the hotel in Birmingham and the Wilder's fight against Gerald Washington, and Brazil fought at that undercard that night. Brazil came out on his Instagram, and he said that he looks forward to fight Deontay Wilder. This is only paraphrasing. This is not verbatim. He says that he is his mandatory. So I looked at the rankings, and Brazil's ranked number 2, and Dillian White's ranked number 1. Now, mind you, just because you rank number 1 doesn't mean you're the mandatory challenger, unless the sanctioned body like the WBC mandates to fight. They haven't mandated the fight yet, but Dom Brazil came out and said that he's now the mandatory challenger. So unless he knows something that we don't know, that's quite interesting. But to be honest with you, I would love to see that fight. Brazil is a top 10 guy. He's a tough dude. He's another guy who doesn't have skills. He's terribly uncoordinated, but whatever abilities he has, it's gotten through fights. So that's why he's a top 10 fighter. And Deontay Wilder is much more skilled than Dominic Brazil. Let's be honest. And I expect Wilder to win that fight. 1224529. Is Brazil still suing Wilder? I don't think so. I think that lawsuit's got dropped. I don't know. I have to go back and check and see if it's still under litigation. I'm not sure. But I think I would assume that it's been dropped because Brazil's now getting a shot at, pretty much close to getting a shot at Deontay Wilder. And I think that fight's gonna be made next. And I think that'll be another good fight for Deontay. So you beat Ortiz, a top 10 guy, then you got Brazil, another top 10 guy. So that makes his resume look better. It's getting better, So yeah. Darkheart says, look, if he can't get Joshua Parker winner, then go after Brazil. They have beef, plus they will satisfy their mandatory. 2 birds in 1 stone. Excellent point, Darkheart. Excellent point. I like that. Tony Ayu says Wilder Brazil grudge match. I agree. That's what I want next for Wilder, which is Brazil. It seems like everybody wants Dominic Brazil. Actually, I want that fight. I think that's a fight that need to be made next. Because look, as much as I want AJ and Wilder to happen after AJ beats Parker, even though I believe it will, that's not a foregone conclusion. That fight's not going to happen right away. If it does happen, that'd be amazing. That'd be great. But I think what's going to happen is that both fighters are going to get an interim fight between, 1 or 2 interim fights in between before they finally meet. I mean, if they meet later this year, great. If they meet next year, okay. But I expect that fight to happen next year, and they will get interim fights in between. So let me get a couple guys on here. I won't be on long, but let me get them on here so that way we can chop it up a little bit. Let me see. Let me see who I can get in here. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go get my put myself on mute for a second, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys, I'm back. Just had to step out for a second. So yeah, so basically everybody's in a what you call it? Well, we made a unanimous consensus vote. So Dominic Brazil. So I guess Dominic Brazil will be the next guy. Hopefully. I heard something about T Street. I heard he came out of his coma, man. I'm not sure if there's any truth to that. So we'll see. Hmm. Hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I hope he's okay, man. I don't know T Street that well. I mean, I haven't really interacted with him, but I wish him I wish him the very best of his speedy recovery. I heard he did recover, but slowly but surely. But he'll be fine. That's a good thing that he's woke out of his coma. So, wish him the very best. So. All right, let's see what's going on here. What the other news? Oh, he's still in the hospital, Chills. Okay, so he's still going through some type of recovery session. Okay, recovery protocol. I mean, yeah, you got to make sure that he's fully, in a he's fully in a fully in a capacitative state to make sure that he's okay. He can do everything on his will. Khan versus Greco. I expect Khan to win that fight. I mean, I've seen Greco fight. He's a tough guy, but I mean, Khan should be able to use his boxing skills and his feet, his fast hands to get him through Greco. But we all know that Khan cannot take a punch, and Greco's gonna. If Greco lands one big bomb, then that's the end of it for Khan. And if he does lose this fight, I just don't see him where he could go at this point. He might be a gatekeeper from that point on, from here on out if he does lose that fight. So I expect Khan to win it, but anything can happen because if you land a big shot on Amir Khan, that fight will turn there. That will turn the fight around. So what else we got here? Let's see. Mm, even harder. Jacobs versus Charlo. Tough one. That's a very, very, very tough one. I don't know, man. That's a tough fight. That's a 50-50 fight. If I had to if I had to lean towards someone, I'm probably gonna go with Charlo. I think Charlo is a much more skillful than Jacobs. And again, it's not always about skill. But from the eye test, I think Charlo's been more. He's been more sharper than Jacobs. He's looked more impressive in his last few fights than Jacobs. And Jacobs had, he's had some two tough fights already. One against Golovkin, obviously, and then his comeback fight against Luis Aries. I mean, even though he won that fight, well, he dominated all the rounds, but he didn't quite look as impressive in that fight. So I probably would go with Charlo because Charlo stopped his last two opponents. So J. Rock Williams and Jorge Sebastian Highland. So yeah, I will go with Charlo at this point. And Charlo seems to be a much bigger man. Well, actually, Jacob's a big guy too. So they're probably in similar size. So we'll see. We did say he did look shook at that meeting they had. I mean, Danny isn't didn't give a shit. I mean, yeah, Charlo did kind of like he didn't look. I mean, I don't know if he looked kind of shook, but he did kind of look bob. He did look irritated with Jacobs. When Jacobs was approaching him. So I don't know. I don't know. Tony, said that Calm almost lost to an old journeyman in Julio Diaz in a similar situation to Bolton a few years ago. Yeah, I remember that fight. Julio Diaz was coming up in weight too. He was coming up from lightweight, and him and Khan fought at catchweight 144, and he hit Khan with the left hook, and he really hurt Khan badly and almost knocked him out in that fight. So, yeah, Khan, that was definitely not a good performance by Amir Khan. So, yeah, luckily he survived that fight. Uh, let's see. Yeah, so Jacobs, I'll go with Charlo. Slightly a favorite Charlo win that fight, and I like Jacobs. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at it from the eye test that he didn't look too impressive in the last two fights. And as opposed to Charlo, he's been more impressive than Jacobs because he's got two knockouts, his two consecutive knockouts. Yeah, come on, man. Prescott smashed his head. What do you think? Why do you think he left the UK? Well, I don't think he left the UK because of Prescott. I think he left because he wanted to go to a bigger market where he can make more. Well, not a bigger market. He wanted to go to, yeah, let's just say a bigger market, not just the United States as a scope. Because let's not get it twisted. There are only certain markets in this country where I live in where the boxing has a huge market, which is Vegas. I think Khan's mission was to get some fights over here in Vegas and to get some notoriety. He did gain some bit of notoriety and and some decent money, decent money, fight here in the States. But the big fight that he wanted to get was Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao. And since he could get neither one of those fights, he decided to retreat back to the UK. Well, actually, he got one big fight. That was against Canelo Alvarez. I forgot to mention he did get that big fight. He got it. It got knocked out, and that's a middleweight fight, catchweight middleweight fight. And since then, he's retreating back to to the UK. So I mean, I think he got what he wanted in a certain sense. He's made a lot of money here in the U.S. He got that big fight. He didn't get Floyd. He didn't get Khan, which would have been more of a bigger money fight. But he got Canelo, which is a big money fight for him. He finally got that fight. I think he got 12 million for that fight, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look at the purse that he got. Let's see the payouts. So Khan received a guaranteed $2 million, but he is set to get around 13 million for the fight because of the line share. Okay, there you go. So his guarantee amount was 2 million. Canelo's guarantee amount was 3.5 plus the line share. So both fighters baked around about between 13 to $17 million. So that was his biggest payday he got from the States, and ever since then he retreated back to the UK. I mean, can't blame him. It is what it is. Now Khan had gotten public backlash and left. Oh, because of that knockout from Prescott? Is that the reason why? Okay. I don't know. I mean, look, many fighters from the UK take humiliating losses, and they end up still staying in the UK and fight. So I mean, David Price has gotten, humiliated by Tony Thompson twice, and then got humiliated again by Erkin Tepper, who's been non-existent in the heavyweight division for the last year or so. So, and look at David Price. David Price is now get a chance to redeem himself. He's fighting Povetkin, and that's a dangerous fight. If he does win that fight, that's a shot of redemption for David Price. So we'll see. I mean, he didn't retreat. I mean, I don't think that's why Khan left the States because of the Prescott loss. I think he left because he wanted to go for where the money was at. Yeah, I mean, nobody rates David Price. I get that. I really don't rate him highly either. But if he does get past Povetkin, you can't dismiss the fact that he beat a top 10 heavyweight, and he's in position to get a title shot, maybe against Anthony Joshua. Because mind you, the fight between him and Povetkin is a shot for the mandatory position for the WBA. So we could see a fight between Anthony Joshua and David Price if David Price gets past Alexander Povetkin, which is pretty much a long shot at this point from what's on paper. Dark Heart says that Dwyer rates David Price. What? Really? Okay. Okay. Hey, anybody is entitled to their opinion on ranking a fighter, but David Price being rated as a top heavyweight, I do not. Okay. Is Khan still with Virgil? I don't know. He's going back to the UK, so I don't think so. I don't know. I have to go back on that. Pedveckin will break him. Fortunately, yes, he will. Sorry, y'all. I'm really busy with typing here. All right, so let's see. Uh, let's see. I love Dwyer, but he's such a character. Yeah, I mean Dwyer is cool. I don't know the guy that well. I don't really don't watch his channel that much, but I've listened to some of his videos, and he does have some great insights on some of the things. But David, this is one of the reasons, one of the insights I have to disagree with him on. David Price, a top heavyweight? Nah, no, no way. To be honest with you, no way. Let's see. Uh, I just got off work. What happened to the fight? Is the dog overrated? Well, T. Scott, apparently he is, man. Apparently. I mean, look, on paper, it seemed like a good win for Crawford, but after he was put in there against a hot prospect of Regis Prograis, and Prograis destroyed him in 2 rounds, it just looked bad in there, man. It just looked like he didn't try. And obviously, we knew that when this fight got signed, he was food for Prograis. So he's definitely going to be food for these super lightweights going forward. And it's sad, though. It's sad, though, man. No, I didn't watch the UK undercards. I have to check them out. But I'll check them out later. Dwyer's new champion is Joseph Parker. Wow. So he's picking Parker to win this fight against Joshua Darkheart, if that's what you're saying. Let me go back here, y'all. Alrighty, guys. Sorry about that. Just trying to finish up something here. It is what it is. Let's see. Let's back to this. I'll check that out. Weed. Yep. Dark Art. Oh, Dark Art. So he is picking Parker to win that fight. Hey, if he gets that prediction right, all hats off to Dwyer. Dwyer thinks Joseph Parker is the best heavyweight out there. Is he that really? Well, hey, I mean, look, he said he's entitled to his opinion, but he did also say that Carl Froch wasn't a great fighter. He did say that. But look, he's entitled to his opinion. We can't just, we're not going to crap on his opinion. He does have good insights, and I respect his channel a lot. So, it's his opinion. You know, Post style would have been more of a chess match. I still think Prograis would have beaten him. I agree. I think Prograis would have beaten him as well. But I think Post style would have been a much tougher fight. Much tougher fight. He would have showed a lot more heart, in my opinion. Dongo just was just putting there. I mean, he just didn't. It just seemed like he wasn't trying, man. That was just my thing about this. I'm disappointed. It just seems like he wasn't trying. So yeah, that's just my take on it. Let's see. Robert Stewart says that Dongo was never good in my opinion, but people were giving him praise because he catch Troyanovsky with a lucky punch and beat a washed up Burns. All right, let's just say this. Let me just put it this way: both Troyanovsky and Burns were favorites to beat the guy, and he destroyed Troyanovsky in one punch, and he outclassed Ricky Burns throughout the entire fight. You could even give Ricky Burns one round. They were both favorites going into that fight, to be honest with you. Okay. And before that, Dongo was a very good amateur. He was Olympian. He was an Olympian for his team, country of Namibia in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He had a pretty good amateur career. He was a national champion, so he was still a good fighter from a technical standpoint. And yes, he did something that most fighters, or it's very hard, difficult for other fighters to do in a short time in a short time span. But yeah, unfortunately, based off his last two performances, it does seem like, okay, what's up with this guy? Where's the heart? Where's the desire? What happened to them? I don't know. Yeah, styles make fights. Maybe he struggles with other fighters with different styles. That's the way it is. I agree with 1 2 1 2 2 4 5 2 9. So yeah, he's still a good fighter. It's just that he just lost to obviously Terence Crawford is a much better fighter in Prograis. Yeah, Weight King 76. What? Is this true? Yes, Adongo got destroyed, brother. He got destroyed in 2 rounds. The fight was on Showtime tonight. Let's see. I just got the news that Toys R Us has shut down all their locations. They're going out of business. So sad, Toys R Us can't survive in this new in this age of e-commerce. It is what it is. So sad. I mean, I remember Toys R Us. I used to love to go to Toys R Us when I was a kid. you know, but hey, sad that they have to go out of business. But anyways, yeah, I'm not talking about Toys R Us. I see this flaws when I did my homework before the Crawford fight. I mean, look, Robert, everybody's gonna have flaws. You know what I mean? Just because a fighter has flaws doesn't mean they're not that doesn't mean they're not good. You know what I mean? Yes, every great fighter is gonna have his flaws, but it just it's just sad though. He it's just that he ran into two fighters who were much more better than him, skillful wise. So it is what it is. Uh, Wow, I just canceled my Showtime account. Hey, it's a change of power. Yeah, man, you might want to keep that subscription because they're gonna have another good card tomorrow night with Mikey Garcia and Sergey Lipinets. I think that's gonna be a pretty good fight. But I expect Garcia to win that fight. I expect him to win it. Especially that Lipinets didn't look good against Kondo, a guy that's unknown who's got like 6 losses on the record, but never been knocked out though. But he made Lipinets look pretty bad, you know, in his last fight. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how everything goes. Let's see. Mm. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. Let's see. How do I feel about AB and Vargas? I mean, I think Vargas. I don't know, man. I mean, that's a tough fight. Could Adrian Broner win it? That's possible, but I might favor Vargas to win it slightly. But hey, Adrian Broner might win it. We'll see. I mean, Olympian is overrated to a certain degree, depending on what country you come out of. I mean, yes, to a certain extent, but at the same time, as Olympian, you do fight other fighters from other origins of other countries of origin. So, as an amateur as well, so it's not just that you fight in your backyard, but you do fight fighters of all different types of origin. Like Indongo, his amateur career, he fought Russians, he's fought some European fighters. So he it is what it is, man. All right, guys, I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap this up. So good to chat with you guys. Shout out to all my commenters in the comment section: T. Scott, Wing King, 1224529. As always, MBT, Robert Stewart, Chill Zone. Who else we got here? Go up the line. Dark Heart 68. Mike from Pound for Pound Boxing Report. Anthony Parka. Giovanni Arsaka. I'm going down the list. Improvement Deception. And since 93 Sports, Fred Thomas, P Money in the house, Tony Tony Yayo. I was a Yahoo, Yayo, Champ Ross, Brown Gone. Yeah, that's about it, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Dwayne Jones. So that's it, guys. I am out. I'll see you next time. Peace.